So I went with a little mullet look there for a little bit that I had one of the guys talk me into. So, all right, let's get in. I see some people commenting on the old mullet look for me in the little wife beater tank top. Anyways, okay, mistake number 3. I know you all want to do it. I know a lot of you have done it, and I know some of you, even though I'm saying it now, I know that you're going to do it already. And what am I talking about? Picking up the paintbrush. You got to put it down, okay? You know, this is one of the big mistakes I see people make, and you know, yeah, there's going to be some exceptions to this rule, but for the most part, if you want to go full time, you want to be a real estate investor, you've got to learn to put down the paintbrush and really commit to working on your business rather than working in your business. And absolutely, if you're looking at doing a lot of the work yourself on the rehab, I can tell you that there are a lot better things that you can do with your time, mainly spending your time locating new deals, you know, worked on raising private money or financing with your brokers or hard money lenders. You know, you could work on building, you know, working with your realtor, marketing properties, managing contractors. You know, there are so many other things that you can do that are such more valuable with your time in terms business-wise, finding other deals, finding better financing with, you know, talk about just a return on your investment of time than you're going to get by actually doing the work yourself. Or if not, just go enjoy life and hang out with your family. You don't want to be, you know, working on these rehabs. It's not a very high-end type of uh, way to spend your time. Now, you know, uh, let's just say that it's something that you enjoy fixing up houses, and you have the time, and more importantly the skill set, because a lot of people don't have the skill set, and you know, they don't understand. They'll say, you know, they just want to they watch the HGTV, they watch some shows, and you know, they think it's easy. Well, you know, I can tell you that it's really not. When you get into things like you know, painting and sheetrocking, texture, tape and floating, even like carpentry, is really a skill. It's almost an art form. Especially when you get into the more higher end flips, and you'll find more times than not you're going to cost yourself a lot of money in the long run by doing those types of things. And you know, am I guilty of that? Yeah, a long time ago I was. In the beginning, you know, yours truly was there rerouting all those plumbing lines, demoing the wall, doing landscaping. I was doing all kinds of stuff just to save a few bucks. But you know, in hindsight, if I'd have been focusing on the numbers of the deal, marketing the deal, pricing, et cetera, instead of the actual, you know, um, just sweat labor kind of stuff, you know, I would have done much better. So that is something that I would encourage you guys to be very careful about taking on, committing to do work on the property rather than focusing on other aspects of your business. I think you're going to be much better off in the long run. And so, you know, it really boils down to just asking yourself if you want to be a true, I guess, investor is the word or not. If you just, you know, kind of want a hobby and tinker around with these houses and, you know, just have, you know, something to do on the weekends or whatnot. Well, if that's kind of your thing, that's fine. But if you're looking at this at my perspective, where I was very serious about quitting my job, making some serious money, serious cash, then, you know, to me, I just had to be honest with myself, and getting the rehabs done quickly and properly was something that I had to just let go of and say, you know what, these guys can do a much better job with me managing them rather than me actually getting here and get my hands dirty and doing the work. So, you know, I would say if you've just got that itch and you do want to do something, some areas where I could say that, okay, maybe just so you can, you know, fulfill that kind of want that you have, you know, maybe something like basic landscaping, or you want to go source the appliances and get a deal on appliances, like things like that. Yeah, maybe something like that. I would say that might be okay. But if you want to, just kind of get things systemized and where you can turnkey it, really work on finding good general contractors that you can kind of turn the job over to and focus on the other areas of business, most importantly finding your next deal. So look, that was my experience. I did put a lot of time and effort on working on this job, and in hindsight, I wish I spent more time just focusing on the deal and the numbers and managing the guys rather than doing a lot of the work myself. So um, hope you guys will take my advice on that one. So let's kind of rehash what we've went over so far. We talked about just properly analyzing the deal before you buy it. And so let's say you found a good one, you analyze your numbers, you've got a good property on your hands, and you build a good scope of work, you've got your time frame set, you've got your budget set, and you're going through the rehab, not working on the rehab, hopefully, managing your contractors, and comes time to price the property. Well, here is another mistake I made. Unfortunately, I wish I would have done this, which was price to sell, not to fail, because what I did, and this is another big one, was I'm not going to say I got greedy with my price, but I did not price it to sell. I maximized the price. I maximized the value of the property rather than pricing it to sell. Okay, and I see a lot of investors do this. They want to squeeze every last single nickel, penny, dime out of the property, and what happens a lot of times is that property is going to sit, okay, because it's not going to get the amount of traffic in the showing. So don't get greedy with your pricing. I can't emphasize that enough. And I mean, the whole thing is in this business is you got to get in and get out, take your profit and move on to the next one. And if you're trying to hit a home run every time, I can tell you you can do it on occasion, but not always. So the safe bet to me is price to sell. And on this property, I didn't. I maximized it absolutely to the top. And it kind of, I'll get into how this whole deal kind of played out. But it was at a time when the market was beginning to get a little bit turbulent. And, that's one of the things I regret on this deal. So, like I already said, you're almost always going to be better off pricing your house aggressively to sell rather than overpricing it. And we'll also say, there are some exceptions to this rule, but be careful, because if you're going to price it aggressively, you need to make sure your rehab will justify that price point for that neighborhood. The neighborhoods, say the starter home neighborhoods that are priced, say in our market is around $100,000. In those type of markets, you're going to be, I don't care if you go granite, tub surrounds, jacuzzi tubs, et cetera, you're going to be very hard pressed to turn a $100,000 home into a $130,000 home just because you spent $20,000 more on upgrades on that house. I would never recommend you do that. I would say you match that neighborhood of what's selling in that neighborhood. Now, where some of these exceptions occur are in the homes, say in the $500,000 range, where say you've got an after repair value of say $400,000 on a house, and you put in 30 or 40 extra $1,000 worth of upgrades, hoping to raise the price to say 450,000 to 475. There's some markets where you can do things like that, but you just need to make sure that that market very, very well, and go back to the comps to make sure that that neighborhood is going to justify that. Okay, so if you're going to go that route, if you're going to go the route where you're going to push that price and try to jump it up, I guess the main thing I would say if you're going to do that is make sure you got a Mac Daddy rehab going on if you're gonna, because you're gambling at that point, because you're not totally going off comps, you're going more off a gut feeling that you can jump that neighborhood value up. So just make sure that you do have that high-end rehab in place. Another thing is you need to be prepared and okay with the possibility that you may be holding that property longer than the normal days on the market show. And so if you're okay with that, If you're okay with that and your numbers, justify that approach, that's, go for it. Just always be aware of the possible, profit damage, I'd say, that may occur for the longer hold periods. And I can tell you just my personal philosophy with flipping houses is I hate vacant houses. I hate vacant rental properties, and I definitely hate vacant flips. And I can tell you, like, with my rentals, 100% occupied now. I'm almost always 100% because I'm very aggressive in maintaining my property stay leased. And with my flips, I make sure I do quality rehabs, and I price them right to sell. So I just hate vacant houses. So, as a good friend of mine says, you take the fast nickels over slow dimes approach, and it's just a good philosophy to live by. And, and another thing is you just have to keep in mind that, we're still in a very pro buyer's market. So we really have to, as entrepreneurs and as business people, we have to cater to our customers. And in these days, people who are in the market to buy homes, they're looking for value. They're looking for value buys in this environment, as to where a few years ago they were looking for every possible upgrade that they could get. So, kind of in hindsight on my flip, did I get greedy on the pricing? No, like I said, I don't think I got greedy, but I definitely maxed it out to a point where it didn't move quick enough. Okay, it didn't take me terribly long, but I could have got a contract sooner. And so that was my story, which moves me on to mistake number 4 that I made. And this mistake is actually, it's a little bit of a tricky one.